everybody, and welcome to the Late Night News with Go Indie Now. I'm Joe Compton.
And I am Katie Salidas.
We've got a great show for you. We've got a lot of great stuff to talk about, and hopefully you're out there. And if you got comments for us or questions, please let us know. We'll work them in here. Let's just go ahead and get started. Katie, why don't you tell us about our top story?
All right. Do I actually get to tell good news this time?
I don't know. Is it good news? That's the question, right?
I'll let the audience be the judge on this. So the top story for this month is Kindle Vella. So Kindle is now saying that they are introducing a new storytelling option, the Kindle Vella. This is where authors can publish serialized stories, one short episode at a time. However, it's not exactly new. What they're doing is building upon the market that was made popular by Wattpad and Radish before them. So this serialized service is kind of being flouted as a way to appeal to a younger generation of readers. They want to capture the younger audience who they say tends to prefer these micropayments for content. Now, the practice was most prominent in the now defunct Telltale Games, where they were selling unfinished games as a popular way of getting indie stuff out there. But with publishing, serialized fiction is not new at all. And it's been around since about 2006, so I don't really know how new it is. But Kindle says that this is their brand new publishing option, so they are pushing forward with it. So in about the next few months or so, readers are going to be able to access the Kindle Vella story system, and this will be available on iOS, Kindle, and through Amazon. The stories are, they want you to have them between about 600 and 5,000 words, with each episode being token-based. So the first 3 or so episodes they want to have free, and then every episode after that they want to be able to charge tokens for. The average price right now is going to be about, I believe they said 100 tokens. Or sorry, one more second here. I lost my place. I have too many notes. All right. So it's going to be about 1 token per 100 words. Now, the way that the earnings are going to be kind of divvied out between the author and Amazon is they'll do a 50-50 split of what the consumer has paid. So now if they get a token deal and they buy like the bigger packages of tokens where they pay less per the token, keep that in mind because that's also going to cut your royalty down. Now, one of the really big caveats here is you cannot republish something that you've already had published. So if you have something out there already on Kindle, sorry, it is not going to be qualified for the Kindle Vella system. They want new content, and they want new content starting immediately so that when it does go live, they've got a lot to push out to their audience. Whether this works or not remains to be seen. We've seen Kindle roll out things like Kindle Worlds before that kind of went south, and they don't even talk about it anymore. So we'll see what happens. It's not new. It's not revolutionary. But Kindle is reaching for as much money as they can grab by offering this.
So yeah, some people are. Shane says he really thinks it's a cool idea. All right, but alas, only for the U.S. right now. Yes,
only for the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, Radish has been around for a while. They do the same thing. Wattpad has a similar system. They've been around for a long time. It's not exactly like new and inventive. There are other options that are already out there.
As I told Katie off air, I wanted to discuss this really in this story because this to me is just the catalyst for a lot of discussion. I think the whole idea of this to me smells like a Disney Plus or they're kind of trying to capture that marketplace, that quick attention span marketplace with words, and that's great. Hey, look. I'm all for more people reading more words and reading books and things of that nature. And if that gets the attention of the author to where they'll go and buy the actual novels from authors and stuff like that, that's all gravy. That's all awesome. And that's really cool. But this stupid token system, I mean, with Amazon, who has everything else subscription based. I mean, the music has an unlimited, the Kindle has an unlimited. I mean, you can't use Kindle Unlimited with this. You have to buy the tokens. Yeah. All these they have like grocery unlimited. I mean, it's like you couldn't come up with an unlimited plan for this. I mean, You can't think that somebody would pay $29.99 and do this. I mean, if they're going to buy the damn tokens, So this is basically, it's like buying a little bit of crack to make you buy the big pound of crack, right?
But and keep in mind too, that tiered token system is also going to affect the royalty that the author is going to get. So let's say they get the 200 token bundle for $1.99. Mm-hmm. That breaks out after the 50% to about 14 cents per serial.
Mm-hmm.
So how much are you actually going to get for your book? Is it going to be more than what you would get from just selling it straight through Kindle? Or is it going to end up being undercut to the point where it's another, unfortunately, Kindle Unlimited does the same thing where they don't pay you the full price, even though somebody reads your book. But because they have a wide audience, they say it matters. I don't know. I think getting a paycheck matters. And so I'm very, very hesitant on this. I know everyone likes to jump on the newest thing, but again, it's not the newest thing. It's just Amazon trying to say it's new. It's already been out there for a while.
I read an interesting article about this in terms of the motivation that some people are claiming it's about, and I don't know if this makes sense or not, and I don't know. I could neither confirm or deny this in respects to what the theory is, but the theory is that they're trying to soften the opportunity for novellas and short stories to be published. They want them to move more toward that element where they can get more money for those, because people usually give those away for free or sell them at 99 cents kind of idea, and it's clogging up their servers because they have to have server space for these little files that are actually very big because they're files, but they're like, well, they're not really a novel, and they kind of don't understand the concept of novellas and short stories, and to a certain extent, I can understand that, but it's like, so this is the kind of they're trying to get those people to kind of move toward that is what the theory was.
I've got a slightly different take on it, and this is just me coming at it from more of an editorial point of view. When you're serializing fiction, and in order to put out episodes at the speed that consumers are probably going to want to eat them up at, how are they doing that and still managing the editing? Or are they going back to the old just slap it out there model? And I really don't like that, because that makes self-publishing look bad again. And self-publishing has gained a lot of notoriety over the years for getting better. We've learned more. We can do more. We can compete now side by side with traditional publishing. But if you're giving authors the option of throwing stuff out there as fast as humanly possible, what's the first thing that gets sacrificed? Quality. So I really don't want to see this become something that turns self-publishing back into the scarlet letter again.
That's a great point. I think that's a very interesting theory and very, very, very well put. The chat here says it's in game currency, game theory. Shane also says this is how they hook you. Later on, they will roll out a monthly. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen too, Shane. I fully suspect that they're trying to gauge what the interest is on this level, and if they start to get a lot of people buying like a crap load or somebody figures out a way to get tokens without paying for it, kind of idea.
Okay, but if you have an unlimited token model for like a membership scheme, there's where you screw the authors again. Yeah. At least with the tiered tokens, there is a defined number. You can definitely do the math there. But if you have an unlimited, that number goes out the window again.
Do you think this is kind of them making a little bit of because this is basically how ACX started too. It used to be like this, where you had to pay for credits and things like that, and do you think it's kind of them making up for what they've deemed as a fault of the system?
We're going to talk about ACX because that fight is still happening, and if ACX, it's all Amazon. If they see what's happening right now, where they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, they should know better than to try and do it again.
Yeah.
But they don't. It's Amazon. They think they can get away with murder.
So Regine says, shove their fat heads into this space and then crush this market segment as well. Anita brings up a really good thing here. It could be a good testing ground, though, for whether there's interest in what you're writing. And yeah, I can see it useful for short stories, and that's what I'm going to try and write with it. That's good.
The only problem is there's no transfer over, though.
Yeah.
They want strictly Kindle Vella stories for Kindle Vella, and your regular published stuff is still going to be under the regular EPA or KDP. So I don't know. I'm very hesitant about it. But it is the biggest news out there. Everybody has been talking about it. So, of course, we had to make sure that everyone in our circle knows.
Yeah. And Josh welcomes our sarcastic welcome theme. Shane says the subscription service won't be unlimited. It will be X number of serials a month with some other perks. Hard to know what they might be, though. Yeah.
But it'll still end up screwing the author in the long run. Guaranteed. Based on historical Amazon treatment of authors.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Should we move forward? So I had the distinct pleasure of actually Katie brought this to my attention. I am becoming a pseudo addicted TikToker, I guess you could say.
Pseudo addicted. Full blown addiction, dude. Full blown addiction with you.
Yeah, I spend about an hour on the app every day. So, but the interesting thing that comes across is these groups that TikTok seems to be putting people in, and BookTok is one of those groups. And so Katie brought up this this article that kind of breaks it down what BookTok is and how to take advantage of it and where you are in the pantheon if you're going to go ahead and do book talking or TikToking. And so I went a little deeper and looked at some more articles and some things about it. And so the one thing that came across for the people who don't know, BookTok is the hashtag in which you use when you're trying to promote a book. It's usually involving somebody reading a book and doing a review on the book. That's usually what BookTok is mostly known for, and it's had an effectiveness in researching older titles that kind of gone by the wayside. Amazon has already said that they've seen an uptick in titles based upon what BookTokers have promoted. And they are very, very passionate readers for the most part. And so right now on BookTok, the most popular, if you can, let me get this graphic up, the most popular genre by far, and you can see it's not even close, is fantasy.
Wow,
fantasy,
it's not romance?
Yeah, romance is very low. Look at how low romance is. Romance is actually... I mean, this one here, fiction, I don't really count because that's just like lumping everything else in. Because so if you've got crime or you've got something else, it's part of that 29%. So whatever percentage of that is of that 29%, who knows? But the fantasy is very late. And that, I mean, they don't have science fiction in here either. So I would assume it's in the fiction part. It might be in the fantasy part. So that might also skew the fantasy numbers a little bit. But I would guess that it's part of the fiction part, not the fantasy part, right? So, I mean, there's dystopian too, which, that's kind of weird that they don't have science fiction, but they have dystopian in here, right? So, but these are numbers that were pulled just recently, and this was a NPD book scan. BookTok currently has racked up 5.8 billion views.
Whoa.
On TikTok. So it's not a small deal. And it's not a small deal to outside world either. Barnes & Noble has a BookTok recommendation trending section, both in store and on their website. I will say that again, both in store and on their website. Taking a page out of Virginia by repeating things. I love when she does that. So yes, in store and on their website. BookScan says they believe most of the sales have come from hashtag videos that have gone viral. Really? You think so? That's the understatement of the year. Here's the cool thing, and I think this is really cool, actually. It's brought people back to reading. nearly 20% of the people surveyed by NPD said that they hadn't read since they were forced to in high school.
Oh,
But the cool nature and enthusiasm of TikTok creators sold them on reading again. 20%.
wow, that's awesome.
Your best way to track your sales, which is mentioned in the article that we'll post, is and actually was mentioned. Sorry, not in the article, but in a previous late night news that CL Cannon first did. In fact, I think it was our very first episode she did the TikTok one, and I'll post a link to that in the description so everybody can go watch that. And if you click on the link, it'll go right to her segment. But she did a whole segment on TikTok, and she mentioned in her segment that the best way to show how you're doing, how you're trending, how you can track not only your likes and views, but your sales is by turning your account from general to pro. It's totally free to do so. You don't have to do anything extra other than just change the designation of your account. And then you get all the analytics that you've been looking for and wondering about with a pro account versus a general account. And I'll link that in the description. But those are the interesting numbers that have come about it. The indie book TikTok is starting a new trend as well, and it's not as popular. It's about probably a fifth, well, 1/1000th of a popularity. Currently shown on when I put in the hashtag on mine. Currently, the view count was not even 10,000. So versus the 5.8 billion that we saw on BookTok. But hey, everything has to start from zero, right? So if you're out there and you want to start your book talking, I would highly suggest you get on it because you're behind the curve already. And I would also say, if you want to get in on the indie book talking thing, that's a pretty cool thing to do. So you could use that and build that hashtag up as well. But it's a very simple process. It's a 1-minute video. I've watched a few of these book talk videos, and they don't say a whole lot. They just basically say how much they liked the damn video, or not the damn video, the damn book. And they just say, this book has this, and that's why it's cool. And they do it with flair and gusto. So that's the thing. They sell it, right? And that's the difference. They're not really saying anything, I mean, you would get so much more from an Amazon review, but
I'm gonna have to get my youngest daughter to teach me now that she's on TikTok.
And Zoe's pretty good at it. So yeah, so there you go. But so let's look at the comments here about some TikToks. Josh says, if you want to see how the future unfolds, look at the past. All right. Interesting. Makes sense, though. TikTok is a role player deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to look into TikTok.
Oh, I like that.
Any way to promote the writing community? Yes,
you know what? Absolutely.
Or sci-fi isn't selling enough to get on the graphic. That's true. It could be that as well. I think it's really lumped into the fiction thing.
That's surprising, though, because sci-fi is a popular genre, especially in that area.
Romance doesn't dominate. That might change my mind. TikTok. I think she's saying that in a nice way.
Yeah, everybody. No, she likes that romance does not dominate, which yeah. I can totally see.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why in a second here. But TikTok's chock full of upbeat, creative people. And I'll tell you why romance is not dominating. It's because it's a younger demographic on TikTok. The TikTok trends usually between a 20 and a 30-year-old trend. So 20-year-olds to 30-year-olds are the ones who are most likely you're going to see most on your feeds. No matter what you're looking at or what you're watching, you'll probably get a lot more of the younger generation just because there's so much more of them. And they are the ones who have gravitated to the BookTok. That's why the older titles that are being regurgitated and being brought back, because these young people are discovering them. And the other 10% of the survey was readers between the ages of 12 and 22. So 10% of those readers have said that they've started reading because of BookTok. So So
I'm
that
all for it. Anything that gets people reading.
mhm. Younger demographic explains why there wasn't a literary category. Again, I think that's part of the fiction lump, but yes, that it does very much explain that. I don't, literary is one of those catch-all genres too. So I think that they just think it's fiction, which is not what I designated as, and not anybody else in this chat or on the show would designate it that. But that's basically what you're talking about. So BookTok is a useful tool if you're looking to get into TikTok. I will tell you two things about TikTok that I've discovered that I know for a fact. And that's the first time you use it, they're going to promote you to the tilt. And if you don't catch on and catch fire from the way that they do things with their algorithm, they bury you. And they bury you further and further. And that's just the fact of it. It's just the way, because they have so many users. They have over 50 billion users. So it's like, it's crazy the amount of users that join. It is the most joined app right now on any app store or app website. Or it is the number one always. It is more people join per day on TikTok than any other app, any other website, any other social media. TikTok is the number one. More people join every day. So the more people join, the more buried you're going to become if you're at the bottom. The other thing I will mention about using hashtags is you've got to use them properly, TikTok, which is something I really appreciate about TikTok, actually. You can use trending hashtags, but if you don't incorporate a hashtag that the video is about, TikTok will bury it as well. So
wow.
right now, for example, like if right now the Oscars was trending, right? Live from the Oscars was trending, and you use that hashtag in your video, even though you're talking about power tools, if you don't mention power tools in your video, they will bury that video. Because they want the live at the Oscars to be talked about the Oscars, so they'll pump that up. But the trick is, and what TikTokers have found is, if you use that in conjunction with what you're talking about, you'll bump it up because it's live at the Oscars as a trending topic. But you are also now setting a trend, because then those people who are looking for live at the Oscars will see that video, and then that'll up the algorithm. So there's some play there, there's some math play there, and it's just like any other algorithm, but they've done some really good masking techniques with that and opportunities. There's also another trick about using the music and turning it all the way down so that you don't actually hear the music, but there is actual music playing in the background of a video. That I've seen that either debunked or supported. So that's a 50-50 deal there. So I'm not advocating any of this. I'm just telling you what I know. So
now, what kind of videos do you post, Joe?
I use TikTok for fun. I really like to just play around and be silly and goofy and do. I like to do the challenges, like the don't react challenge. I like to sing on TikTok, which is the only place you'll ever see me sing on.
Oh, that's it. I'm there.
I like to. I've been reading poetry lately on TikTok. So I'll write a 1-minute poem and recite it, and put some ambiance behind it. I did some Shakespeare for a while. I was doing. I do lip syncing on there too. Just having fun with it. I've put Go Indie Now stuff on there, but I know as a marketer that you can't just shove that in everybody's face all the time, because that'll just get buried. It'll just get buried. So you have to have fun with it as much as you have. Michael Jackson. I have not done that one yet, but I've thought about it, Josh. I've thought about it, actually.
All right. So for all of our viewers today, and for all of you who watch it after the broadcast, post in the comments section below with your TikTok link so we can all follow each other, and we can all watch Joe dance and sing. That's where I'm going after the show.
Thank you, Regine. I appreciate that. He says I make it sound cool. So all right. So we're at halfway. Do you wanna give Courtney a chance to get in here, or do you want to talk a little bit of updates beforehand?
Let's definitely hear from Courtney. I love her tips.
Yeah. So Courtney also this month for everybody, she gave a little sneak preview of it on her Facebook for people who didn't see that. She's going to be talking about another social media site that's just blossoming that might help you out. So we'll do that, and we'll come back and give you some updates on some stories. And then Katie has an interesting story involving Google. So be right back.
Hey guys, CEO Katie here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you your monthly marketing tip. And I'm so excited for this video because I think it's just a great new platform that I'm going to be telling you about. It's a new platform that I think is going to be really, really good for indies, and I'm just really excited about it. So the platform is called Likewise, and Likewise is a suggestion app. It helps users find books, TV shows, movies, podcasts, things like that are similar to what they've enjoyed before. So it's a lot like what I do with the Indie Connection. You put in things that you've liked, you rate them either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and it helps you pick what to watch next or what to read next or what podcasts you might want to listen to. But what is different about Likewise, it's not just a suggestion app. They have introduced some new community features, like groups and clubs where you can hang out with readers, especially readers that are in your same genre, because the groups are not, it's not like Goodreads that has a whole bunch of different fan creative groups. There are tastemakers that are over the different genres that are into groups. So there's only like 5 or 6 different groups. So things don't get lost. You don't have to sign up for a whole bunch of groups. It's just really organized, and you get to talk with people that are in the same genres that you're interested in. They also have lists where you can show off some of your favorite, like your top 10. I think I've got a top 10, or actually I've got a top 20 sci-fi TV shows that I love. And you can also do it for books or any media that's on there. They also have the Ask feature, and this is where you can ask for recommendations from your peers. So say I wanted to ask what someone's favorite fairy tale retelling was, and I specifically want books. So I go to the books category and I say, you know, what's your favorite fairy tale retelling? Let me know. And people will be able to suggest that in the comments section. They just add whatever books they like to the list. They can add a comment about it. I can favorite it. I can add a comment on there. People can upvote if it's like, if the book that you want to recommend has already been suggested. You can just click on it to upvote it and make it go up higher in the list. So it's really, really interactive. And even more community features are coming, and that includes voice chats. And so this is a lot like Discord, or probably more comparable to Clubhouse, but you don't have to have an Apple product. You can have an Android, and it's not all invite only, so it's not so exclusive, which I know Clubhouse, the exclusivity thing is supposed to be what's really appealing about it, but I just like that the gates are open and anybody can go into this. So the thing that I'm talking about, it's like Clubhouse. It's going to be an audio rooms, like chat rooms that you can go into, and you can listen to audio conversations. You can join in on them. You can participate in them, or you can just listen if you want to just, you know, kind of stay in the audience. And this puts author interviews and podcasts like right in the spotlight, and it delivers the content to avid readers, which is really important. That means that the traffic to audio events will be much easier to acquire because your audience is already enjoying things that are entertainment specific, like books on the app. It's like with YouTube or podcast channels and things like that, like Podbean and places, there's just so many categories that they can go through. That they might be into fishing or crazy cat videos or something like that. And that makes discoverability very limited. If the reader's already on the app and they're already looking for books, like book recommendations and going into book discussions, you know, they're already in the zone. They're already thinking about books. And you have a great chance of them lending you their ear and participating in some capacity and learning more about you and your books. Likewise does something that I think both BookBub and Goodreads has really struggled to kind of provide. It brings readers and authors together in an interactive and easy way, because Goodreads does have some things like some groups and some different ways that you can interact with each other, but the platform needs an update. Joe will be happy about me saying this. The website sucks. They need to update it. It's been the same for forever, and it's not easy to navigate. It's not user friendly. And BookBub does a great job of connecting readers to books, but not so much authors. There's not really any interaction going on there. But so Likewise kind of does both. So how, as an author, can you utilize the features besides the audio feature that it's actually coming? Well, first of all, you should be genuine. Make sure that you're not using the platform to just kind of be like, buy my book, shamelessly self-promoting and things like that. Promoting it every turn is just not going to help you on this sort of platform. So look for topics that relate to your book and your genre that you write in. Comment on asks and lists. Add your own books to relevant asks. So, for example, if your book is about time travel, feel free to add it to the ask post of someone who's asking about time travel books. Don't be adding books that obviously don't relate, but if it relates, add it, and maybe add a few of your favorite time travel books, because the chances are if you write time travel, you've probably read a few time travel books, and you have some that are your favorites. Your books are already on there. You don't have to add them. So you just search for your book by the title or the author name, and it pops up there, and you just click add. So it's really, really easy. You can make your own lists and share them on social media. And if your book is relevant, again, you can add it. I have one that just has a list just of all the books I've published. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with lists. You can participate in group discussions to make new friends and followers. And those following you will see your recs and your asks and things and get to know you better and see that you write books, and maybe they'll check them out. You can customize your profile. You can really just customize that how you want to. You've got a little bio section. So knock yourself out. The possibilities are really endless with Likewise. And I feel like it's just a little really genuine place to interact with readers, which is something that has been lacking in the community. And there's always seems to be like a fence that separates us. And I think Likewise is going to try to kind of bridge that gap there. It is actually a company owned by Bill Gates, so it's got plenty of funding, and I don't think they're going to microchip you if you sign up. So that's all for me this month. I'll see you next month. Oh, and if you have any questions, remember you can always email me at info@fiction-atlas.com or message me on Facebook. Always here to help.
Awesome. Another great tip. Anita said this in the chat here. She says, I love lists. I do too. I really love lists. I love making lists. I love making top 10 lists and all that stuff. So, look, everybody, JD's here. Woohoo.
Hey!
Better late than never, my friend. And
there you go.
Friday date where we chat with the fam. Yes, sir.
I like that. I like that.
I love lamp.
All right.
But yes,
had a new release too.
That was a really good tip, and I hope people really gravitate toward and check it out, because I think she's right. I think it could be very, very valuable for people. So.
And did you notice she said it's being heavily promoted through TikTok using that hashtag?
Yes, the BookTok tick. Yes, I did. Of course I did. And I also noticed that she came around to my way of thinking, which she's correct on, the antiquated, the stupid website of Goodreads. But
yeah, I have never liked Goodreads, and their website is so difficult to navigate.
Yes, it's awesome. I believe this is Vanessa who's here with us. She just finished writing a short story, so I'm here. Well, I don't know. I'll have to go into Facebook to find out who that is, but whoever that is, hello. It's nice to see you. All right. We have another interesting story to talk about. Miss Katie Salidas has come across something on Google that I think she wants to make everybody aware of. So
that's right. Back to my being the bearer of bad news, the harbinger of doom, as it were. So Google has disallowed the sale and advertising of digital books on Google Shopping ads. There's been a big problem with Google and piracy over the years, and that's kind of what led to this decision. So beginning May 18th, 2021, Google no longer supports the advertising of digital books globally on their shopping ad system. Now, this does not count on the print books. This is just the digital versions. But it stems from the piracy problem that they've had in the Play Store, and they just haven't been able to keep on top of it. A few years ago, their method of keeping on top of it was to disable the ability for new users to sign up as publishers and submit ebooks. Well, that didn't last for very long because we have a lot of people publishing, and Google needed to get in on that. So they opened it up to invite only, and then they eventually enabled it for more self-publishers and small companies to come back in. But guess what cropped right back up? Piracy problem again. So since they can't police the ebooks that are listed on their website, they are just going to go ahead and cut it off at the neck, and they're going to stop the advertising of the ebooks on their shopping ads. Now, I know a lot of people don't use the shopping ads for their advertising platform, so this may or may not affect you. But we all know Google is huge when it comes to finding things. That's usually the first search engine people go to. So not being able to use them as an ad platform can potentially be problematic. So just keep that in mind. And you can still publish with them. They're not blocking publishing anymore. But for now, no more Google ads for ebooks. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news again.
and I will say, as somebody who has used Google ads before, I will tell you that it's very funny that it's piracy laden, because their ability to get an ad approved on Google ads is very, very difficult. I mean, literally, they are the most rigid in terms of, if it just has a little bit of, if it has like your shoulder exposed on a cover, or it says like something like sex on a cover, or in it's like the number one word in the book, they will flag it and say, nope, it violates our policies. I mean, literally, I've seen people with children's books not being able to get an ad approved through Google because for some reason it didn't have enough bears in it. I don't know, whatever. But whatever the reason is, it's the most rigid system I've ever come across in terms of, their policies in what is acceptable or available. And I will also say that this is bad news for anybody who depends on their ranking to become onto the first page, because with ads, that automatically bumps you up to the top because, of course, you paid for it. So Google's going to reward you and say, hey, look, you're a partner with Google, so we're going to put you at the top of the list. So you're going to have to go back to being very original in your descriptions and your meta tags, because these little shortcuts. And this is also, I think this is a good thing in the long run, because a lot of people were cheating with that too. But if you don't use your meta tags correctly and you're properly on your websites and things like that, Google's going to just bury you. And we all know if you're not on the first page, you're not going to be seen.
Yeah,
it's very rare that the second and third page maybe, but if you get onto that fourth or fifth page, you're done. You're
might as well not exist.
Yeah, you're a ghost. I mean,
it's really sad. Now they do still have it open for print books, so there's a little bit of squeak in their room, but really it's the ebooks that are the bread and butter of most indie authors,
especially on Google Play.
Which that platform also has been a not very fun one to work with.
No, yeah, they're very antiquated, very weird, very hard to. I mean, and again, the issue that we have is very simple. Amazon has one way that they produce a book, and everybody else has a different way besides Amazon, and it's like it is hard to format.
I have good news for you there. This was not a planned news story. However, because I do a lot of formatting for my clients, I recently learned that as of this summer, KDP is no longer accepting Mobi format. Woo! They will only accept EPUB, which, hello, that's the primary format we want to format in anyways, and their KPF format, which I absolutely hate. But EPUB is accepted now. They have finally relented. They have finally accepted that it is the dominant format, and it is so much of a cleaner format to work with. So yes, as of this summer, they're no longer going to be supporting the older format.
All right. Jeff
So
Bezos
happy.
is gone. I knew as soon as we got rid of the bald guy, we would be okay. We would be okay as authors, right? The bald guy's gone. We're all good, right?
Yeah, and it first started creeping up. I want to
say
say
that
about
as a
6
fellow
months
bald
ago.
guy.
You're not completely bald. No, about 6 months ago they started. If any of you use the Kindle previewer to look at your formats on your PC or your Mac, you'll have noticed about 6 months ago they started making mention of Mobi being the old format, and they prefer you to use the EPUB. And then it popped up on their knowledge base. And I was explaining something to one of my clients this week, and I said, look, that they no longer need to use this format. And I pulled it up, had the document and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon's done with the Mobi format. Thank God. All right.
Now, have you loaded it to a Kindle to see how it looks and everything?
So when you upload it to KDP, it's still going to do some kind of conversion of its own to create its own format for its Kindles.
But that's out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. It accepts your EPUB, and if you do any kind of font embedding or anything like that, it retains it now.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's cool. That's awesome.
Which Mobi wasn't doing, and that was one of the biggest headaches. Is you could create a beautiful EPUB file with beautiful font embedding and drop caps and all kinds of stuff, and then you'd load it to Mobi, and it would just destroy everything that you worked for.
A lot of people are chiming in here. Well, first off, Vanessa moved over to YouTube. Nice to see you, Vanessa. I knew it was Vanessa. That's awesome. Interesting. I hope it quells the piracy. Rebecca,
I don't think anything is going to quell piracy.
Yeah, I mean, how about this? How about I have a novel idea when it comes to piracy, but let's go through these for Katie, bearer of the bad. Rebecca, so we can still make them into paperbacks and run ads for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Only
according to you guys, they're big and rigid and hard. Is that? I knew we were gonna slip up sooner or later, Katie. I knew. She just can do it. She just does it. She's so amazing at it. And then JD said hello back too. And delicious innuendo. Yes. Amazon is now taking EPUB. Yes. And down with the ball, guys. You damn right. All right. Invented Mobi. What the WTF? It's
hey. Okay, so Laserdisc versus what was it? The DVDs, the Blu-rays. You know what? The dominant format wins, and EPUB was clearly better. Amazon just didn't want to admit it, and they finally have.
Mm-hmm. And Josh says sexy. I don't know who he's referring to, but that's all right.
Maybe the PDFs are sexy. I don't know.
I think PDFs are sexy, actually. But my novel concept is how about we embrace the idea of piracy instead of deny it? Because after all, it is eyeballs on stuff that you produced, right? And so I think the more you fight it, the more hurtful it becomes for you and nobody else. You're only hurting yourself at that point. So, he says EPUBs are sexy. So
there you go.
That's just my novel idea.
I've gotten to the point where I no longer fight it because I don't have the energy to fight it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, in the back of my mind, I say, you know what? A pirate was never going to buy it anyways.
Yeah. That's the whole point. And so, and if it gets a couple more eyeballs on it, hey, look, it got a couple. You never know. You never know what that could lead to. It's just one of those things.
But to all the readers out there, before you think of piracy, remember your libraries.
Rebecca disagrees with me. She says, no, just no. Pirates rip off names too, so your copyright gets cloudy. Tape recorders are what made Metallica. Embracing it means you still control it to some extent. So there you go. All right. We've got some updates. I think we should start with ACX because I'm imagining that's probably going to be the bigger of the two updates. So
okay, I can do it. It's not a huge update. I know it's been quiet on the home front when it comes to the Audiblegate group, and that's because they are working behind the scenes in order to get the legal issues taken care of. They've got a lawyer now. They're working on getting a nonprofit organization started so that they can attack them from that angle. In order to do that, though, they're looking at the tune of about $50,000 to basically raise funds to get this started. That is just getting it started. So what they're asking is, everyone, please, if you haven't joined the Audiblegate group, if you haven't stopped by the website, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please do, because getting the word out is number one. Educating other readers, educating other listeners, educating other authors on what is going on, showing them the truth so that they can get just as mad as we are, is what gets our voice unified. Beyond that, they will start doing some fundraising as soon as they have the nonprofit all set up, which should be happening in the next month or so. So please pay attention to the Audiblegate group on Facebook or the Fair Deal for Rights and Narrators group on Facebook. They said they know they've been quiet there, but they are still trying to get everything in the works so they can come on strong. Aside from that, they are still in communication with the higher-ups, with the Alliance of Independent Authors. Both the Audiblegate group and the Alliance of Independent Authors are still partners, and they are working behind the scenes, talking directly to the higher-ups at ACX, trying to figure out some of these glitches and why we were promised things that never showed up, like the dashboard, that we were promised this big update. And what did we show you last month, remember? There was no huge update. It was minimal at best. It didn't match up with the actual reports that came out. So there was a lot of hiccups. And of course, ACX says, oh, well, everything's running just fine. The reason that we haven't had things running smoothly is just because there were so many people checking. So, smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. So they are still working. They are still playing the accommodating, keep the communication lines open game until they can get the legal setup going. And once they do, and we can get money raised, then they're going to hit them with the lawsuit. And fingers crossed, if we can get all of our voices unified, we started out really strong. We can't give up now. We can have all of our voices unified and we can work towards this. We might be able to make Amazon pay.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now that I'm about to update the other side of things and tell you what unifying does for you. We talked about a story last month in which some independent musicians were getting together and trying to unionize, and they have a big update. And so that was, of course, the secretly grouped union, so SGU. And as you can see here, I'll read it out loud so everybody, I know it's really small probably on people's screen, but they voluntarily recognition. SGU's voluntary recognition has been certified. They've proved that they have a majority of support within the eligible members of the secretly group. The managing partners of SG officially recognize SGU and OPEIU Local 174 as a collective bargaining representative for all employees within the bargaining unit. This agreement means that the partners acknowledge our rights as employees to organize a union, creating a unified voice on the job, to trust and expect the partners to bargain in good faith with the union moving forward as we work together towards a fair contract for all. As we head toward contract negotiations, we celebrate this moment of recognition as our first corner of the industry, and they thank everybody for supporting them. So they have now become an official union, and that union, that local section of that union, is actually a very prominent union. It is part of the motion picture and entertainment industry. So a lot of people who work for Sony, for Disney, for Marvel, for places like that are all a part of this union. So to be put into that category with them is going to give them a solidified voice with some solidarity behind it. Say that 10 times fast. And so
got your new TikTok challenge.
Yeah, there you go. And this is going to help musicians and people who work for musicians. Again, we mentioned this before last month. The riggers, the sound guys, the techs, the the marketing team, that the copywriters, the liner note writers, the guys who transfer, from one medium to the other medium, the guys who create the vinyl. I mean, all those, to the guys who sell the vinyl. Well, those guys aren't included in this, but otherwise, these are people who are struggling because they don't have live venues right now. So they're not getting paid for anything. So the idea is, when you have gigs that do come back, and when they start to flood back, and they are coming back, I just got a notice today, a bunch of concerts are coming around that I'm interested in. I'm real excited about. Of course, they're all expensive, so I won't be partaking in many. But besides the point, I'm getting off on a tangent there. But this is a really, really opportune thing for them, because then these venues, if they want to get the right lighting set up, they want to get the right thing up, and musicians are behind these guys. So musicians are saying, "Look, you're not going to use my guys. I'm not going to play your festival." And we trust these guys. They rig the lights right. They put the guitar tech together. They keep us going. You got to hire these guys. Well, you got to go through the union to do that. So the wage is going to be fair. It's going to be paid, and it's going to be protected. And that is a very, very good thing for these guys. And I think bravo to them. This took no time at all. We literally did the story a month ago.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks after that, this came out in the end of April, this notice. So they really, really stepped up and got this thing done. So, I think what we have to rely on, I think the message here is, and Katie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the message here is that little guys got behind them, got together, brought it all together, and what happened? The big guys stepped up and brought them into their fold. I think the same thing could happen with Audiblegate. I think that the little guys get together, and the big guys get behind them and say, "You know what? We're with you. We have a voice too, and let's all do this together," kind of thing. So I think that's a really, really good indication of why we do what we do here, and I think it's really cool. So
Together we rise.
Absolutely. So the chat's going nuts as usual, and the Regine said, "Look at Metallica and the fact they were replaced by Electronic Robot." That's awesome. Yeah, ouch. What happened, boys?
Ouch.
Can we ask the pirates to also leave a review?
You know what? Please do. I would be okay with that.
That's literally what some of the pirate sites swear they do, but they're less likely to leave a review than the customer. I love the idea of unionizing. Yeah,
here's the thing with reviews. They do not have to be a book report. A review just needs to answer 2 questions. Did you like it? Would you recommend it? That's it. You could do a 2-word review. Loved it. That's perfect.
Well, let's not encourage that, because if they leave a 3-star and then they put "loved it," you
know what? That's fine. That's fine.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but
when I look at reviews, I tend to avoid looking at the 1 stars and the 5 stars. I pay closer attention to 2, 3, and 4 than anything else.
But those are very thorough and very thought out, is what I'm saying. Usually,
not always. Not always.
And I don't really appreciate that.
But 1 and 5 tend to be either haters or super fans, which we love our super fans. Don't get me wrong. But if you're looking for the more, I guess, honest opinions, and that's not quite the tone I want to reach. I guess the everyday opinion. Mm-hmm. Then you look at 2, 3, and 4. If they hated it, they're going to hate it for a specific reason. If they liked it, they're going to like it for a specific reason. But 1s are usually, I just hate everything, and 5s are, I love everything. So those aren't the same level of I guess, trustworthy or I can't seem to find the right word I'm looking for tonight.
I know what you mean, though. But 1-star reviews tend to also be confusing, especially on Amazon, because you get these reviews where they go, "Hey, my book didn't load properly. I'm giving it a 1 star for that reason," and it's just like, it has nothing to do with the actual book, but it's the technology, and they just lump it in there. I did a podcast on the Podaholics about The Godfather, and during it, I don't know if Shane's still here, but he did look at The Godfather getting 1 star reviews and why they got it, and literally, I swear to you, one of the reviews said, "There is no God or mention of God anywhere in this book." And that's why they gave it a 1 star review. And then there was another guy who said there was no superheroes, there was no action scenes, and there was no guns in The Godfather, which he was wrong about that. But still, I mean, it's just the ridiculous nature of 1 star. You have to laugh them off almost.
1 star reviews can be often the funniest reviews too. Like sometimes I'll go back through just to get a laugh. I think my favorite 1 star review for one of my books was "This sucks worse than vampires do." It's like, I love it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Regine says unions are awesome. I would imagine, Bex.
And we'd all take a review. See, let's look at the consensus here. Shane says the same thing. Just give me the numbers. The algorithm doesn't care if the review is positive, only that it exists.
Yeah. And Josh says fight the power, and that honest we all should. Yes. Shane says he's here. All right. So there you go. And Anita says some people use reviews as a customer service complaint. Yep. Absolutely. That's what,
but those don't count. Like if you're looking at the reviews to gauge whether or not you want the book, when you see that one, you're going to immediately just go, yeah, whatever. You're not going to pay attention to it.
I think you should write this, Josh. If this is your suggestion, there's a book out there called 1 Star Reviews and 1 Stars and Why and waiting to be written. I think you should write it, Mr. Pantellerusco. I think you would be probably the best guy to write that kind of book. But
yes, you need the right kind of sarcasm and wit to work that one. You could do it.
You need the right kind of wit, and Josh certainly has that. So, you really need people to engage and read the actual book too, which Josh can get people to do as well. Because I don't know if I would pick up a book on how to get a 1 star review. It's like that's kind of like how to put your hand in a microwave and not hurt you, or put your hand in an oven and not hurt yourself, right?
No. Think of it like the daily affirmations book. The daily 1 star, and just each page a new really bad 1 star review.
Shane says my 1 star reviews are from angry ladies. I deserve hazard pay.
Oh, what are you doing to piss the ladies off, Shane?
Rebecca says I got a 2-star review due. I think it was a 2 because of the lesbian sex, except I had neither sex or lesbians in my book. It was awesome.
So they're mad that you didn't have that.
Yes.
More lesbian sex, Rebecca. Come on now.
Maybe they were expecting it and you didn't deliver, Rebecca. I mean,
I find it hard to believe that Rebecca doesn't deliver.
I know for a fact that has never been the case. That has never been her issue, for sure. Daily 1 star review drawing by me.
There you go. See? Awesome. There you go.
Awesome. And you can keep that. We'll let you have all the royalties to that. We won't ask for. Well, maybe Katie will, because Katie's kind of mean, so she'll ask for a finder's fee.
No, I just want him to interview on our show, so we'll do the rounds for that one.
I got a 2-star review on my smut pen name. My book was recommended by her favorite author, and she gave me a 2-star because I wasn't her favorite author.
That's like those pictures of the little kids crying, and then the parents explaining why they're crying, and it's like he wanted the purple crayon, and he's got it in his hand, and he's crying.
Cattle prod scene. Regine has the perfect one. Here's the perfect one. This is dropped the mic territory right here. 1-star reviews of famous works. 307. There's 365 days. Okay, is that the joke? Maybe I'm missing. Maybe that went over.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I'm telling you, there's your $1 million idea. Take it. Run with it.
See, we're chock full of $1 million ideas here, and we make not even a cent to do this for you all. So we really appreciate you all being here. And now that everybody's it's just going crazy now.
Now, don't forget, though, in the comments section below, I want you to post your TikTok links so that we can find and follow you.
Yes, let's follow each other and make sure that we do that. And, hell, post your Twitter. Post them whenever you want, link-wise. I know we have a gentleman in there, Mr. J.D. Estrada, who just released a book. We'll be talking more about that on Sunday on our show, This Week in Indies. But he post your link, JD, so people can go get your book, because a new poetry collection from JD Estrada. It's a must read. So
beautiful cover too.
Absolutely. Calendar review, 1 star. There are 365 days in a year.
There's day one for you. See, the book writes itself.
There you go, everybody. Shane Wilson. There's Shane for everybody, and JD Estrada. Hey,
don't just put it in the chat section. Put it in the comments.
Put it in the actual comments for everybody, so that we can do that. Because the chat won't. Chat goes by too fast for people to grab that stuff, and people like to cut and paste anyway. So
yes.
Do that, and no, don't tell everybody that, Margaret. We want people to. We're trying to get engagement. Is what we're trying to do. So. We're trying to use the chat, not the chat. We're trying to use the comments. So,
yes.
While I appreciate that, that's a good tip. We want you to post in the comments, because the more comments that go on, the more the YouTube algorithm will catch this video and put it out there for everybody. So,
and also it's so much easier to find when it's just each person by all their links than trying to keep the scroll.
So we're about to shut down, and you can do that. I know you can't post a comment during the live feed, but you can immediately after, because you know why, Katie?
Because it's always time to go indie now.
And with that, we say good night, good luck. Please go out there and check out the things that we talked about today. It's only going to help you guys, and we'll be back next week, or not next week, next month. I almost made Katie just reach through the screen and choke me. We'll be back next month with another news broadcast and more stuff on Going Now out there. And go Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Go check out Spilling Ink. Great show. That's going to be there. And
my final chapter on Sunday. If you've been following the Agents of Assets, Sunday I am reading the final chapters of book 2, so you don't want to miss that on my channel.
And everybody go vote for which book you want her to read next, because she's going to ask you that question. So, everybody go and do that too, so that she knows what she can read. And we've got shows going on. There's shows been posted, so check it out. We'll be back on Sunday live with This Week in Indies. Or as Regine most eloquently put it, TWII. And that's our show, everybody. Good night.